Well, welcome in everybody and happy Friday. I hope everybody had a good week. I hope everybody had a good last week. And we'll see how I do tonight. Got a bit of the bronchitis going on, and it's taking its time with me. But I didn't want to miss another week of hanging out with everybody. So we're going to give it a go. I may invite some people up to hang out and maybe help me out a little bit, because this is so, and I'm gonna cough in your ear, and I'm gonna apologize for that up front. But if you're out there, let me know, say hi. Would love to hear from you and see how everybody is doing. Also, hopefully I'm not talking to nobody, and let me know if you can hear me and my weird voice. Hi, Mom. Welcome in. Nice to have you checking in here. So a couple things in the hopper right now. As you can see right here, this is the bridge side that I've been working on with the molds, the plaster mold, and trying to deal with this weak spot. Hey, Jimmy, welcome in. Thank you for confirming you can hear me. Hopefully you can understand me. So I've been reading up and looking at videos and seeing if there's a chance for this to survive, and we're going to see if it is a chance tonight. The best repair material seems to be white glue. So I have good old Elmer's glue all, and this has been sitting for, I don't know, 2 days. And so we're going to see right now if it stayed together. Of course, now I could have plastered over this, and I actually tried to do this in the mold, but the mold's too flexible. Here's the mold. It's just too flexible, and so is easily breaking that apart no matter what I used. But we are going to check this out and see if we have something together. Let's get this out of the way. And handling this very delicately, it actually impressively works. This is slightly off, I think, but the idea will be to come back and reinforce this with the wood. And so it would go on here, and you probably can't see this too well, but it is, even with the molds, it's kind of off a little bit here. Where is, what did I do? I may have moved the other one that has the sides already. Oh no, this is oh, that's on there. So I could use this as the backing. The next step would be to fill this in here, with the cracks in here, with one more plaster, and then start carving this out. And then once this is carved out, to use to make another mold like this, but with the rocks carved out, and that'll make the other side for me, or more if I need to make more versions of it. But it's good to know that it's actually pretty solid the way it is. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, but so we are going to move this out of the way. So sometimes the internet doesn't lie. Hey, Art, welcome in. Nice to have you in here. Hope things are going well for you. So, good old Glue All came to the rescue for that. All right. So, work continues on the Campbell kit. Let's see if we can pull this out. Excuse me again. I did a little mini clinic. It takes a lot to put a regular length clinic together, but about a 9 or 10 minute clinic on the chipping method for the windows, but their windows and doors are all in. Oh, I did not know that moved, but I then had some plastic packaging, and from that I used that, not that you really can tell, but for all the windows and doors for the instead of buying acetate or anything like that. So I just cut pieces up and glued them on. So I got through that. Then it wanted to start, then it talked about putting lighting in. So this is part of the Just Plug system. These are these lights here. So I just put one in the middle, which means I also have this open door. So I'll have to put in an interior probably of some sort, because you're going to see through the windows. Either that, or I could put a piece of paper to block it and just, just to get light in there. But that leaves it open for work on that. And then before it finishes the roof or anything, once you start detailing and working with old school with these lights. And now it's just wire that they provided, and these little brass light shades. So I could put light in there if I wanted to, but I was just going for easy. And these are not easy to get on because they're not flush in here. So you have to have the glue catch on and hold. And then there's holes. There's a hole here, a hole here, a hole here for lights, and then there's one for above the door, and that's what I've been working on. But they keep kind of coming apart. So that's as far as I got with this guy. With these wonderful directions. So we haven't even dipped into the second bag of wood. So that's all going to be for the roof and everything on here. And the platform. There's a platform this will go on. So there'll be more cardstock, more wood for that. But that's what I got to on that. So I've been pretty... I was pretty sick for a little while and didn't do a whole lot. Now I'm at a sort of a manageable stage. I'm back at work. I missed 3 days of work. And then, but I did make a discovery, which made me really happy and made my 2 weeks. As you know, with working towards the car certificate for the achievement program with the NMRA. There was another freight car that I wanted to do for Conrail, to specifically work on the layout that I want to do. And that was a coil car, and a specific coil car, an open coil car. And nobody had the measurements or the plans for it. And I looked and looked, and I almost gave up, and I was ready to buy the Tangent model, which is a really expensive model. But even the picture that they reference and all of the material on their website, they don't mention any dimensions. So one night of searching around, looking at my phone, searching around the internet, I did another search and said, well, what else could I search for? And I just put some search words in, and I came across this repository of drawings and plans for cars, and a coil car was in there, and specifically the G41A. And that is the car that I needed. And now I have a copy from the collection of Bob Johnson, a tracing that he did with all of the dimensions that I needed. So I needed to figure out the length of the car overall. I needed to figure out those weird coupler arms and the length of those. And then these tranches, I need to understand how high up they are, and everything. And the measures and so this has all the measures that I need. It doesn't exactly have, the only measure it doesn't really have is the height of these tranches, but it has the distances between them. It has the inside distance. It has the outside distance, or the edge of the car. And then it even has distances of the wheels between each other, between the truck centers overall, and includes even the coupler length. So so it turns out it's a 49-foot car. Hey, thanks, Bob. Appreciate you stopping in. So go for it with the 3D work, and have an awesome weekend as well, Bob. Appreciate you stopping in. I haven't gotten my 3D printer moving the last couple weeks. I'm either printing some household stuff or model railroad stuff, and I haven't been doing enough of the model railroading. And I've been working on some of these other projects that weren't 3D printed. But I will get back to it. Gopher Girl, besides, is back working. So we have to share our laptop computer. And so I haven't had it as much in order to work on things. But I'll get to designing this car and get this moving as well. I've got to figure out the ladder piece of the gondola, and that's the last kind of little bit. And then I'm going to print that, and it still needs some detail on the printed car. It's still going to need the brake lines for under the car. And I've got to get back to finishing up the passenger cars. But hopefully I'll get a little better day by day and get back working. So I'm really excited about this. And then my mother has her International Dollhouse miniature show in Chicago, and I have a project that I have to get started on that. And so I have all of March, and then a real small part of April to get her project done. So the 3D printer will be running again for sure. So let's see here. So yeah, so that'll be the next project. So I already have the flat car. That's all done. That merited. Then I will have to have to finish the gondola, which is an offshoot of the flat car, and have that evaluated. Then I'll have to have a passenger car done and have that evaluated. And then then get working on the coil steel car and then have that evaluated. And that'll be the 4 different types. And then I'm going to have at least 3 more passenger cars that'll need to be completed. That won't be evaluated necessarily, but will earn merit because you need 8 cars. And hopefully sometime in the near future, whenever that may be, I'm hoping to earn that certificate. I need to have I already have some of my video work being evaluated for AP credit. The clinic I just did will be submitted for that. And I've got, I think, my 4th article in for the Fusey. That's our regional publication for the Thousand Lakes region of the NMRA. That will come out here in the spring. But just met the deadline, which was this weekend. So I just got it in a few days ago. Another model railroad primer article to kind of wet people's palates and get them excited about trying something new, hopefully. And so that one got finished in time. I wasn't feeling well and I kind of did a rush job on it. But it still has the same information that'll be helpful to people. And I think folks will enjoy reading it. Our last Fusey was probably one of the biggest I saw, and hopefully we have other contributors jumping in there. We'll see how it goes, but you'll see another article from me. So author certificate is one that I'll have a bunch. I don't think I'm close to finishing the author certificate, but probably pretty far. The other one is the volunteer certificate. I have to get some of that signed off, but I'm over halfway there with the volunteer piece, with a couple of volunteering for a couple of events and working through hours of those. I was a Twin Cities Division Board member for 6 years, and now I'm the secretary of the Thousand Lakes region. So I should have well over half of what I need for the volunteer certificate. But still want to get back to the modeling. One of the decisions that I made was that I don't think that I'm going to be able to have the modules that I want anytime soon. And I'm really not doing anything with the 2 modules that I have. So what I'd like to do is pull up the surface of the module, which is like wood board, but I think it's 3/4 of an inch. So and what I want to do is put down foam in place of it, and I can get, for I think it's $21 or $22, I can get a 4x8 sheet of insulation foam from Home Depot, I think is what I last saw, which is more than enough. But it won't be an exact fit it won't be a level fit because of the original dimensions. So there may have to be some modifications. The other thing that I probably can do is I probably can break up the foam smaller and set it in, and then set some really thin pieces, 1/4 inch of foam over top of any of the support pieces that are going across the module. I'll have to take a look at that closer before I start tearing them up. But I was looking for I was looking for the easy way out, basically, at this point. And so while those are all the projects that I'm working on, wondering what you guys are all working on out there right now, whether you're working on it now while you're listening in, or just what's on your workbench, what's on your layout, and where you're going with that. I'm just looking at what my next steps are on this build. Besides the decorative lights. Oh, I had mentioned, that I found really useful these jeweler's tools, and so one of two of the things that I was using to bend these to the shape that they needed to go are both this flat pliers, and really helpful, instead of a big pliers, to have this easy or have this small close work and control. And this one, you can see these are rounded, so that was helpful to make the curved sections on there. Here's one. Here's one that you can look at. They give you in the instructions, they do have a template for that. And so I don't know if I'll finish. They are a pretty big pain in the butt to do, but we'll see if I finish those out. So the next step is bringing us back to the corrugated aluminum. So it looks like it'll want us to start working on the roof area again. And then the next step are roof cards and more of the aluminum. I'm wondering when we're going to break into the second bag of wood. So the next step will be to finish the outside of the building, which are rafter tails and some of that small woodwork. And before we get to the step with the bag B, so that's going to be for the floor and the foundation. So the roofing material for the kit is the corrugated roofing. So it has plenty of that. Let's see here. So here you go. So this is going to be the roofing. So you're going to have roofing coming up from here. So you're going to have basically 2 layers of corrugated roofing coming across here. And then you're going to have roofing. There's a very slight edge there. You'll have that corrugated roofing for there. So more corrugated roofing material that we'll have to work through. And that's going to go, all the way across here. Here's the that's the done version of it. So you'll have the long pieces again, like the sides, and then a short piece over here, and then rather short pieces up there. And then this is where a lot of your wood's going to be for the base. Also in that bag B. So, and then the rest are little details. Here's your bag B that has this is some flooring, I believe, for it. And then it has some different pieces in here, but that's what that's going to be for. Plenty more of the here's the corrugation again. You have the thin pieces for up on top there, and then the thicker ones for down there. And I'll cut them down again and do the whole thing to set them across and everything. There are there are roof pieces. There's roof card to do your guide on here. So this is going to go across here. So you're going to have your guide again so you have one set this is the longer set, and then the shorter set will go over top here, down here. So it'll be more of cutting them to overlap. But yeah, it's gonna look pretty neat so far. I'm really impressed with the way it looks on here. It's too shiny for you to see it on here. I've got a what I wish I did is I wish I dull coated this already before I put the windows in, because now I've got to cover up the plastic on the windows, because if I throw a dull coat on here, it's going to frost the windows. But this needs a dull coat to see all the weathering that's on the corrugation. you can you can sort of see it on here, but it's so shiny, it doesn't really work that well. So it definitely needs to be dual coated. So I wish I had done that up front. You might be able to see a little bit on there, but not too much. But I did a lot of work on that, so I do want to feature that. But then, like I said, these will go on. You'll have that corrugation, and there should be, I believe, there should be some, I believe here that these are going to be your pieces that, well, it would help if I was on camera, right? So I believe these are going to go right up here so that you can put your corrugation on top of that. So yeah, it's going to look good. Hey Jet, welcome. Nice to have you join us. I'm a bit on the ill side, so apologize up front if you can't understand me. I'm not speaking another language. I'm just having a time of it. So anyway, so anyway, as I was talking about, back to these, super helpful for bending the wire. This is nice solid wire that they provided. These are they provided, these were about doubly as long as they were, and you just cut them in half. So that's not what I wanted to do. All right. So let me. I thought about posting it. I did a 9-minute video chronicling how I did these windows and doors, because when I posted to multiple groups on Facebook, my progress with those, and talked about using the hairspray technique. And I was shocked by how many comments I got asking for details about the hairspray technique that people had never heard of them. Now, there are, where I actually learned it originally from was from military modelers who have some fantastic videos on how to do it. But I put together a little mini clinic using photographs from my work on these, and presented that to the Twin Cities division at our last meeting, which was a virtual meeting. Excuse me. And just to bring up what's next, it's a good thing I didn't sign up for it, but this weekend is the operators retreat. A good thing I didn't sign up for it because I'm sick, and bronchitis is contagious. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not trying to infect people. But if you signed up for it, the operators retreat is this weekend, which means I think that we probably have a few less people in here in the live stream tonight, because they're probably at the social, because I think the social hour is tonight, for everybody to meet the layout owners, and that was and that started at 7 p.m. So people are probably, hanging out and getting to know those layouts and everything. So if you're at the retreat, the hangout, and you all have me on, I'm going to say hi. That would be neat if you did. But you're probably getting to know those layouts. So I participated in the operators retreat, and it was the first time I operated on any layouts, and that was the purpose of it. Started with Mike Jordan's layout, which was a great one to start on. I had a very simple job to do. Only one train was in my way, I guess you would say, right at the beginning of the session, but it was out of the way and I could operate and do the things I needed to do and learn how to do that. And the second layout I operated on was Ken Borowski's N scale layout. His was much tougher to do, and I had a job where I had to use the main line to make some moves, and so that made me really nervous getting in people's way, and I got stuck in a spot that I couldn't get out of until basically the end of the session. But it was a learning experience, and I had a lot of fun. And I hope the gang and everybody involved, we have people coming from all over to participate, and I hope that everybody has a good time. We had a warm-up the last 2 days or so, or 3 days. It's going to dip down for tomorrow. At least that's what my sinuses say, but it's and we're supposed to get 2 to 4 inches of snow tomorrow, but I don't think that's going to get in the way of people operating, and so I think everybody's going to have a good time tomorrow. So Art, if you're still in the chat, do you have you done any of the operators retreats? I know initially it was for people who hadn't done it before, but I think that they'll take all comers, and because I don't think I remember you mentioning I don't think I've heard you mention operating on layouts, so I was just wondering. You don't ride in the snow, Jimmy? Like true Minnesotan? So, yeah, it was I took the dogs out today, and it was pretty darn warm. I had my coat on and everything, and I was sweating. I think it got up to 44 or something like that. Yes, I know. Gopher Girl. Of course, the only time you pipe in tonight, it's about when we talk about snow. Hopefully you're going to go get my chocolate soon. I could use the chocolate. But so anyway, oh, so the only thing this doesn't have, and I haven't been able to see this, so the reason for using the flat car model for this, just like I did with gondola, we'll use that for the underside, but the only thing I got to do is redo the dimensions for this thicker beam. Do I have So this is the flat car underside from the flat car clinic. This is a 3D printed version of it. Excuse me. One version of it anyway. But you can see that although this is not scaled specifically, you can see how much thinner this is to this. So we just need to figure out how that's going to be. And then if I build the inner beams that thick, it'll give me plenty of room for the brake rigging and stuff. But I could certainly keep the inner beams the same and have the outer beams be the thicker outer beams. But I don't have reference to say whether the beams all were that way or the inner sill. I don't have any underbody shots of that. So it's just going to have to go with traditional brake rigging and a setup kind of like this. And obviously it'll be a shorter car. This is 56 foot. 50, I believe was the original. And again, from coupler to coupler, this is 46 foot. 49 foot total with coupler. So 49 versus 56 foot. So anyway, so the learning curve here is going to be not how to put this together, but how to convert this into something like this underbody. So that'll be the next piece of learning from this program that I'm kind of excited about for this. And then we'll have to figure out how to do all this other stuff. I'm gonna still, from a 3D printing standpoint, I think I'm still gonna struggle with the ladders. You can see there are ladders or on the end, and we can get pictures of those to have a real look at those. Let me see if I have a easily accessible. I don't know if I have an accessible picture, but we're certainly going to go look. Let's see here if we can find. This is going to be photos. So one of the places I go is there's a Conrail photo archive with people who've provided the photos as references. So they don't necessarily have everything, all the details and things that are needed, but they definitely. Let's go to freight cars, coil steel cars, class 40A. Let's get this one. Let's see here if we can get a good shot of. There's quite a few good shots, I think, here. Let's see if we can pull this up here. But this one gives you a pretty good idea. So here's the coil card again. So they have some, I would call those ladders. I don't know if I'd call them grab irons, but they're thin enough you probably could do grab irons, and because these are all going to be metal poles in here. Obviously that's angled, so that's hollow in there. And then here's this extra arm. The coupler's all the way out on the end here. And again, I have a feeling that the inside sill is not the same size as these outside beams. Just by looking at the brake rigging and brake line stuff that's underneath, and I'll take a closer look at some of these other cars, some of these other pictures, I should say, and see what I could come up with. But there isn't a lot out there. They're mostly pictures like this. Let's see if I can find anything at all. And these are former Pennsylvania Railroad, these G41A class of, let's see if we can get a good shot of that. Yeah. So yeah, underneath it looks pretty flat. So I think just this outer one that you're gonna need the bigger side one. But yeah, so that'll be the next project. But I really do want to finish this gondola and make some headway at finishing at least one of the passenger cars. There are still details on the cab car that I haven't finished also, and stuff I want to redo, like the windows I want to redo. So I've got to pull out all the windows and do something different for those. And I've got to get it running the right way. Had some trouble running it with it, had some wires cut loose, and so I have to get those back, make sure they're soldered correctly and everything. But I certainly want to get moving along in this in the AP program, because the other thing I guess I didn't finish explaining with the modules, what I'd like to do at this point with the modules is see if I can work my way into the prototype certificate, because that one can essentially be any size. And I figure if I could do the central scene, which is the New Brunswick station and all the surrounding area, that I could get it done. And that's going to take some time to do, but I need the modules to do that. So that's why I want to work with the modules I have at this point. Let's see if I can to make that happen. So we're gonna have to see how my stamina is and how I'm feeling, and if I can really get moving. I still have work to deal with, like paid work, and that takes up all my days. I work Monday through Friday. That tuckers me out as an old man now, pretty good, and but I get so I'm hoping that I get some relief from this, and I managed to come out of this and really I'm motivated to work. It just the energy zaps too quickly. So that is where I'm at. And let's see here if there were anything else on the let's see if we can find a nice picture with the actual load in there. There's a number of them here. Let's see. Yeah. Some of them are just dark. But you can see there are all kinds of different size coils too. That you can get in there, longer coils, thicker coils, and everything. And so, and I have the decals from K4 waiting to be used. I've used, I used them for, and so this one has 2 road numbers, or 3 road numbers, or 4 road numbers. It has 4 road numbers on them. But if you take a look at, let's see if it does that. So looking at that, it has everything on here, and it has 4 road numbers. And I did use for one of the projects I had for roadside, for line side structure, I used one of the Conrail decals, and it looks really nice on there. So these will come out nice on here. So let's see if we, so it has everything we'll need. It has all of the markings that we'll need to put on and everything. And so I'm sure I'm going to go through this pretty good. What's nice on here too. Let's see if we can switch these up. Let's stop sharing that. This gives you exactly where everything goes. And of course, this one was designed, so I'm not making the hood because the version or the timing of the one that I'm building didn't have the hood. And so, but this shows you where everything goes. And has some nice clear drawings too. I looked at a couple places that have the decal sheets for these, and they both on both websites they had drawings, but they didn't have dimensions when I was looking for dimensions. So that's one of the ways I was trying to get dimensions. So I can't guarantee that these are to scale. This is definitely much smaller than scale, but anyway, so have those ready to work on. I have paint ready to go. I just need to build the car. So yeah, excuse me. So with that, I am going to say that I appreciate everybody stopping in and hanging out with me. It's been a tough go, but I keeping on, and like I say, make sure you just jump in and try something like I am. I just keep trying stuff, and that's what I want everybody to do, because you may find something you really, really like to do, and I think I've found that with model railroading. So with that, like I said, just jump in and have a great rest of your weekend. Anybody on here going to the operator's retreat, drive safely tomorrow, enjoy it, and report back the fun that was had by all. And everybody have a good night.